This morning on Awareness, effective community policing. How do we do it? How do we set the standards? What needs to change? Also, focusing on the future. How to keep teens on a positive path during prom season and beyond. Eliminating distractions and underage drinking. Plus, a mind of social consciousness. The message behind an 8th grader's talent show performance. Awareness starts right now.
Engaging the community since 1970. This is WIS Awareness.
Good morning and thank you for joining us for Awareness. I'm your host, Megan Norman. Once again, South Carolina sees the sacrifice that accompanies the fine line of serving and protecting. Greenville police officer Jacob Allen recently lost his life in the line of duty. Authorities say Allen and a fellow officer were serving a warrant, but the suspect took off running and then fired at officers. Allen was hit and later died at the hospital.
He worked very, very hard as a member of the community response team. He was working hand in hand with our neighborhood leaders and with residents in our communities to make our communities safer, to connect us better with those communities, and to do our work.
Authorities say the suspect later shot and killed himself. In the last few years, a breakdown in community policing has plagued national headlines, with concerns really on both sides. Communities that feel their needs are not being met or considered, and officers on the defense. As the nation grapples with many issues, local and national leaders look for solutions. Last year, President Barack Obama released recommendations from the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing. The aim to enhance community policing and improve trust between law enforcement officers and the communities they serve.
And all across the country, from states like Illinois and Ohio to cities like Philadelphia, Boston, and Nashville, local leaders are working to implement the task force recommendations in a way that works for their communities.
To talk about the importance of effective community policing, we have Stephanie Snowden, Director of Community Initiatives for the Richland County Sheriff's Department, and Seth Stoughton, a law professor at USC. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Let's first start with what these recommendations lay out from the task force.
Okay, well, the first one was building public trust and legitimacy. I mean, they are kind of a little heady, so I don't know if we'll have time to get through all of them. But those are the things that an agency such as ours, Richland County Sheriff's Department, and I know many others here in the state and in the Midlands do, which is having events, educating people. I mean, I think one of the big things, you know, the starting place is society is a lot more complicated now than maybe it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so the needs are going to change and they're going to be specific. I like what the president said, which is to implement them in their community. And I believe that, that Seth would agree that there is going to be no one-size-fits-all with these recommendations, and really an entity has to, a law enforcement agency, has to survey what their community needs are and then address them accordingly. But getting to the first one, building trust, at the Richland County Sheriff's Department, one of the ways that we do that is we have a citizen advisory committee made up of folks from the faith-based community, academia, neighborhood folks, so that if there actually is an incident or if there is a complaint against a deputy, we have a citizens-based group that's looking at it prior to the sheriff even taking a look at it.
And Seth, when we see scenarios play out as in Ferguson, as in New York, as in Baltimore, really all over the country, how do we find that solution that fits each community? What are some of the challenges in doing that?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. When we talk about the police and the community, those are easy terms to use, but we have 18,000 different police agencies in this country. We have about 300 of them just here in South Carolina, and that's just the state and local agencies. That doesn't include other agencies that have overlapping jurisdiction. When we talk about communities, boy, I don't even know how many communities we have. The city of Columbia itself has a bunch of different communities in it. So how do we find those solutions? It has to be through active engagement. The police organization is a public service organization, and the onus is on them to reach out to the community and get the feedback from the community, pull the community in. There's also an onus on the communities to participate in police agency decision making. Policing in a democratic society requires democratic engagement, and there is some burden on both the police agency and also on the communities to make that relationship happen.
And I would absolutely agree with that. For example, we have 8 different areas that we police, and one area, particularly in the Lower Richland area, said, hey, we would like to have our own region. And so the command staff at our agency actually heard that and has split them, and so there will be a new, there'll be an announcement of a new region, but that was completely the input of the community. So you do, and you can't wait until, and I think you would agree with this, you can't wait until there's a tragedy or a crisis. Law enforcement agencies have to get out ahead of time, and I think this is kind of really one of the things that the task force was really trying to say. You can't wait until it gets to a crisis situation.
But in order for that collaboration to really be effective, I think you have to first start by breaking down that barrier to trust, because there's a lot of distrust and mistrust on behalf of the community. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree. I don't know if I would say a lot. I would say definitely there have been, I mean, you went with your open looking, highlighting at some of the problems. Now, I think that the issues of Ferguson, Missouri, and in Chicago, Illinois, I'm not saying that we don't have our issues here, but I think it's a very different thing because I know that the leadership of our agency, in particular here at the Sheriff's Department, we're out. We have a community action team that's at 60 different community and neighborhood meetings every single month. We have a Citizens Academy that runs twice a year, where for 10 weeks our citizens can come and learn about the inner workings of our agency. So it's an ongoing, it's not a one-time put information out. It has to be an ongoing commitment.
Engagement with the community.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to supplement that and highlight how important that is, because I couldn't agree with you more. The relationship that a police agency has with the community, or the different members of the community, is like any long-term relationship. It takes a lot of work. And it's not like a marriage, because if the two parties don't get along, they can't just get a divorce. They are stuck with each other, right? That community and that police agency are stuck with each other. So they have to actively manage that relationship and commit to it. And they have to do it before there's a problem. The reason that Ferguson, for example, the reason the community did not react well in the aftermath of the Michael Brown shooting was because they did not trust the official story that the police gave. Now, the DOJ later came in and issued a report saying that the official story looks like it aligns with the facts, with the physical evidence, but the community did not trust the local police. In a community that has more trust, you don't have the same type of reaction when you have even a questionable or an unquestionably mistaken shooting. There's certainly upset, there are demands for answers and demands for improvement, but you don't see the same level of distrust. It's managing, so Ferguson, focusing on Ferguson, the problem with Ferguson, the problem that the police and the community had in Ferguson was not the Michael Brown shooting. The aftermath of the Michael Brown shooting exposed a long-running problem and a failure to commit to that relationship.
I would 100% agree with that. And one of the things, and I think Seth would agree with this, is that the agency did not reflect the community that they were policing. You know, here in Richland County, we have female deputies, we have African-American deputies, we have Hispanics, we have Koreans, we have Chinese, we have Muslim deputies. So we try to make sure that we have very well-trained deputies and law enforcement and even folks in the command staff that actually are reflective of the community. Now, does that mean that someone who's Caucasian can't police someone who's African-American? Absolutely not. But I think that that goes to building the trust when people can say, hey, there's someone that looks like me. And then, you know, I guess the final thing that I would say on that piece is that, you know, much has been made, I think, in Chicago, Illinois, with the numbers of African-American males that are shot, not by police, but just the crime. And one of the things that I really take seriously is that, you know, law enforcement belongs to everybody. And I do think that probably with the hip-hop culture and some of the other things, that there has been that natural tension, particularly within the African-American community. And, you know, the biggest message is that we have an invested interest in good law enforcement. If there are bad, if there are folks that are heavy-handed and not doing things correctly or racially profiling, they should be out. But we have to be a part of the mix. We can't just shut it out because of what we're seeing nationally, or just maybe some of the perceptions, particularly that our young folks have.
Right, and part of that, as we have said over and over again, is the constant engagement with the community. And I know there's an event coming up, and we'll have more information on this event for Richland County on our Facebook page, and other events I know USC is taking part with as well, to really enhance the information with the community. So thank you both so much for being with us.
Thank you, and I appreciate you taking the time to actually talk about this, because things are not going to get better unless we actually talk about
address it. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Still to come on Awareness. A middle school student with a message in her music. An 8th grader at Southeast Middle School in Hopkins has been excelling in school, making the honor roll and filling her schedule with plenty of extracurricular activities, including playing in the orchestra and cheerleading. She recently performed in a school talent show, showcasing not only her abilities, but her social consciousness. Joining me now is Ariana Taylor. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me how school's going. How do you enjoy it? Clearly you're doing very, very well.
School is okay.
It's just okay.
Yes,
well, you do a lot in school. You've made the honor roll. You play the violin. You were in a Southeast pageant. You won Miss 6th grade. You continue to achieve. So what do you attribute to your success? How do you stay motivated in school?
I just do the positive things, so I can be motivated.
Is it difficult sometimes?
Sometimes, because I have to think to stay positive.
Right. And does your family help you with that?
Yes, ma'am.
How do they help you?
By telling me to stay positive. Like, if I plan on doing something, they'll push me to do it.
Right. And you also have your self-motivation to keep going and keep pushing forward. Does it help when you keep winning different contests and pageants?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell me a little bit about this talent show you were in recently. How did you decide to be a part of it? Why did you want to do it?
Because at first I won 2nd place last year. And this year I just decided to do it by myself.
And so what did you do?
I sung.
What did you sing?
A Change Gonna Come by Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke, that's a great classic. Why did you choose that song?
Because my mom helped me choose the song, so people in the world would know how the difficulties are today.
And what is the message you want to leave people with that song? I know you have some images that you put with the song. Why did you have those images with them?
So people can actually see what's going on in the world.
In the world. So did you follow some of those issues? I know you had pictures from Ferguson and Baltimore and different places. Did you really understand what was going on?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you feel it was important to have that message with this talent show?
Because of all the crimes that are happening in the world.
Do you think people really got your message? Do you think people really understood when you performed?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we're going to see right now. A change is going to come. Ariana Taylor. Thank you so much, Ariana.
Thank you.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, and I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, and I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, and I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother, and I say, brother, help me, please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. And oh, there's been times that I thought I wouldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, and I know.
Welcome back to Awareness. We are coming up on prom season, and every year a big topic of concern is preventing underage drinking. 2 Midland school districts are coming together to talk about this very issue. Joining me now, Giovanna Lovett, Director of Richland School District 2's Project CARE Coalition. Also, Lakeisha Fields, Coordinator for Lexington School District 2's Rise Above It Coalition. Thank you, ladies, for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
This is the first year you're having a town hall. You're all coming together to talk about a really important issue. How did this town hall come to be?
Well, we're both drug-free community coalitions, and underage drinking is a big deal around prom and graduation season. And so we decided, why not bring both of the coalitions together to address this issue? So we're hosting our first one in Richland County, in Richland School District 2, and then our second one in Lexington County. We have various panelists that will be present, from Palmetto Health to Richland County Sheriff's Department, that will provide information on underage drinking.
And Lakeisha, what are some of the issues of concern and some of the topics?
Some of the topics that we'll discuss is just what we're seeing in our area. So at the town hall in Lexington County, we would have an adolescent counselor from LRADAC, and they will discuss what they're seeing in the area as far as youth substance use. We'll also have some medical professionals who can speak to what they're seeing in the hospitals.
And obviously having this town hall means that there is an issue you want to address or at least prevent. So what have you seen in the school districts that really said, hey, there's a reason to have this?
Well, we know that students are getting access to alcohol, whether it's through retailers, whether it's through friends or family. And so we want to make sure that we are driving the message to parents, to community members, and to students about the dangers of underage drinking. That's the purpose of this town hall. We know that there are other issues that we need to tackle as well, but underage drinking continues to be a major factor with our youth.
Right, and there are a couple of other partners that are going to be with you all in this endeavor. Can you list some of those people and what they're going to be bringing to the table to this discussion?
Well, we have 2 doctors from Palmetto Health that will be in attendance. The Richland County Sheriff's Department and the 5th Circuit Solicitor's Office will bring the law enforcement perspective. We also have Richland 2 parents that had a son that was dealing with some issues that will speak from the parental point of view, as well as the Department of Juvenile Justice, their Insiders program, and staff with Richland School District 2.
And while this might be more of a heightened problem during this particular season, what are some of the ways that you would like to keep this conversation going year-round?
One way we can do that is by getting more involvement in our coalitions, having members join to know what activities that we have planned for students to get more community involvement, businesses involved, and coming up with different ways of how we can address this issue. The more involvement we have, the better that we can address these issues.
Right. Do you think students will be receptive to this?
I think it's important for the parents to have that conversation with their youth. I mean, you know, we know it's happening, so having that conversation, starting it at home, I think they will be, you know, become more receptive. If you're hearing that message at home and then you're hearing it out in the community as well, you know, you'll start to grasp that concept.
Right. Do you think it needs to be happening in the classrooms as well?
It does. It does need to happen in the classrooms as well, and I know that our educators have a lot that they have to tackle now, and just the underage drinking issue is a big deal. So whatever avenues that we can use, we hope that it would be through our coalitions and through faith-based initiatives that we can continue to drive this message.
Okay, well, let's give our viewers all the details of when and where.
Okay, so the Richland County Town Hall meeting will be on April 6th. It will start at 5:30 with our exhibitor Awareness Showcase. The town hall meeting will actually start at 6 p.m. at the Richland 2 District Auditorium, which is located on the campus of Richland Northeast High School.
Okay, and then is there
the Lexington Town Hall will be held April 14th, at Brooklyn Casey High School's auditorium, and it's from 6 to 8 p.m.
And then finally, let's end on this. What is your message to parents to really get them and their students, their children, to come out to this event, these events?
This is a message that not only just parents, but everyone needs to be aware of. Again, underage drinking is a major issue, not just here in Richland and Lexington counties, but statewide and nationally. So the more information that you have, the more resources that you have, and that will enable you to be able to have these conversations with youth, I think that'll be a great start for us to be able to tackle this issue.
And it's certainly not just an individual issue or a school district issue, but a community-wide issue.
Yes. Correct.
So thank you, ladies, for being with us.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with a final thought. We need to continue to engage our communities and open up dialogue on all of these critical issues, from community policing to providing positive role models and encouraging our young people to reach their potential. As it is said, it takes a village. We cannot solve problems until we confront them together. We'd like to hear from you. Join the conversation on our Awareness Facebook page. That is facebook.com/awareness10. I'd like to thank all of our guests this morning. Until next time, I'm Megan Norman. This is Awareness.